Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Adam Haikal bin Ishaq. My two other friend who is Aqil Nuqman bin Zaini and Farid Zulhusni bin Faizul Halil will present about a project which is Stackable storage bin. As you can see here, this is the project that we will build. What is a stackable storage bin? Stackable storage bin is a indispensable tool in the workshop or workplace. It is very useful for placing important items or can also be used as a place to throw away metal chips or small piece of scrap metal. The reason we chose to make this project intended for use by user or student in the workshop. The objective of this project is, the first objective is to build a stackable storage bin to make it easier for user to dispose of scrap metal. And the second one is to reduce user movement. And the last objective is to build a tool that can be used as a special place to store things. Procedure and methodology. For this slide, this is the drawing and the dimension of the project before we begin the process, before we begin to build it. As you can see in what's written here, it means you have to bend. Use the bending machine, manual bending machine, for 90 degrees up. For the down and 180 degrees, it means this is the sheet metal. You have to bend it down for 180 degrees. The tools and equipment we use to build this project is a L square. We use L square to get the 90-degree angle. For a marking process, we use a scriber. A scriber is a hand tool used in a metalwork to mark a line in a workpiece. We also use a planishing hammer to flatten or smooth by rolling or hammering the sheet metal. We use a hand metal cutter to cut the difficult part of the sheet metal that cannot be cut using a machine. We use mallet and we use a file hand tool for the finishing to smooth the part that we cut using a machine and to make a depth on the sheet metal. We also use anvil. Anvil is a metallic support or stone which is used to forge a steel, iron or other metals. On this block, which can end in a point, the metal are struck with a hammer or other tools. For shearing process, we use a manual shearing machine. For the bending process, we use a folding machine. To make a chamfer on the sheet metal, we use a corner notcher. And the last process, to join the sheet metal, we use a spot welding machine. So I pass the next slide to Aqil Nuqman.
Assalamualaikum and hello to everyone. My name is Aqil Nuqman bin Zaini and I will continue the slide on how the method and process are worked. There are three methods that we use on this project, which is number one is cutting and marking, and the second one is we also use the bending machine, by using a manual bending machine. And number 3 is welding the part, which is we're using the spot welding machine. On the process, the preparation is we prepared a raw galvanized sheet metal plate. The thickness is 0.5 until 1.5 mm thickness. Calculate the dimension to give by group. Third one is make a line with the dimension 410 times 400 using a scriber and a ruler or L square. The last one is cut the sheet metal to 8 pieces by group. On the body part, the first step is remarking the sheet metal. Usually what we do is we make a line using a scriber following the drawing and the dimension. Next is based on the drawing, the R1 shows the part of the bending process. So on the sheet metal, write R1 for all the bends so there are no wrong cuts or bends. And make sure there are no overlapping lines and mark according to the correct measurements to prevent wrong cutting or bending. And number 2 is shearing process using manual shearing machines. On this process, we cut the sheet metal along with the line using the manual bending machine. So this process is for cutting large pieces of sheet metal. Next is we place the sheet under the spindle holder folder, and we look at the marked lines carefully so that you do not cut the wrong line. Then press foot lever all the way down until cutting action is complete. Release foot lever, which will rise to original position. After finish, clean the edges of the sheet metal using fine hand tool. And number 3 is shearing process using corner notcher. The step on this process is we cut the marked line using a hand operated notcher machine. So this is for the cutting small pieces or to make a chamfer. The sheet to be notched should be placed on the table. It must be butted against the gauge blocks, and the head brought down manually and shearing action take place. Make a chamfer using Make a chamfer using hand notch for a stand before bending. Clean the area of ruts using file. And we go to the next slide. So number 4 is cutting process using metal hand cutter. So as the drawing shows, that is the measurement of what we are doing, which is what we're doing is cut the difficult part using machine. Use a metal hand cutter. Place the metal at the workbench and hold it so it does not move while cutting process conducted, and cut it slowly along with the marked line. Clean the cut area using hand file tools. And number 5 is depth on the sheet metal part. On this process, to make the depth like the diagram below, use a small hand file. Place the metal at the workbench vise. Hold the file by its handle with your dominant hand. So with your opposing hand, place your palm onto the tip of the file. And lastly is file the part gently. And the last step is bend the sheet metal. So for this process, we place the workpiece on the folding blade and make sure the line is in line with the clamping bar, and lock the sheet metal. Put the handle up until the sheet metal looks 90 degrees. and we repeat the step for the same thing for other parts.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Farid Zulhusni bin Fazul, and now it's my turn to continue the slide on how we make the cover part. There are three things we do before doing this cover part. The first step is marking the sheet metal. We make a line using a scribble following the drawing and the dimension. Based on the drawing, I want to show the part for the bending process. So on the sheet metal, write R1 for all the bends so there are no wrong cuts or bends. Make sure there are no overlapping lines and mark according to the correct measurement to prevent wrong cutting or bending. The second one, shearing process by using a corner notcher. So we cut the marked line using a hand-operated notcher machine. This is for cutting small piece or to make a chamfer. The sheet to be notched should be placed on the table. It must be mounted against the gauge block. The head brought down manually and shearing action take place. Make a chamfer using hand notch for a stand before bending. Clean the area override using file. Lastly, bend the sheet metal. Place the workpiece on the folding blade. Make sure the line is lined with the clamping bar. Lock the sheet metal. Pull the handle up until the sheet metal loops 90 degrees. Do the same thing for other part. Now let's move on to the next slide. On the spot welding process, the first step is we clamp the two pieces together with a pair of vice grip pliers. We connect the piece of metal that we plan to weld so they are flush against each other. Step 2, we insert the metal between the two electrode tongs. Hold the handle of the vice grip pliers and move the metal between the two tongs. Keep the metal still as we ready the tongs to spot weld and fuse them together. Step 3. Press down on the handle to close the tongs, and when they connect with the metal, the two ends of the electrode will pass a current through the metal to heat up the spot where they connect. Step 4. Hold the handle down for 3 to 5 seconds to fuse the metal together. Don't hold the handle for more than 5 seconds, it may melt too much to create a clean weld. Step 5. Remove the metal and allow it to cool for 5 minutes. Pull the metal out from between the two tongs and inspect it to make sure it's been fused together well. Step 6. Make sure the metal has cooled before you weld any additional spot, and repeat the process as many times as you need to in order to fully connect the metal. Result and discussion. Okay, this is a decision and discussion that has been made. The first one is to begin the process, make sure the marking work is done accurately to avoid confusion when doing the work. The second process is the bending process. This process can produce various shapes that need to. The last process is spot welding. For this process, we need to refer to the actual drawing to know the areas that need to be spot weld. Spot weld need to be done twice or more to make sure the joining is strong. The overall result is successful by following the drawing, but there is a bending area that is not very net. The dimensions are also not quite accurate. There are measurements that are over 2 to 3 mm. In conclusion, students managed to fabricate a stationary holder. As shown is the result section at the end of the experiment. Students learn how to operate cutting machine that employs shearing force to cut material to the required dimension. Students also discovered that spot welding primary purpose is to collective join to or more metal sheet. Student is becoming more adept at the identify the benefit and challenge. Finally, we hope the knowledge and skill obtained during this project can use it in future. Okay, this is a reference when we make a report about this project. So that's all from me. Thank you.